Okay, and I would encourage you all again, with the state legislative races, the issues are going to be the same, but this is, those of you who live in Erlanger know your community issues better than certainly I do, certainly than any of, the reporters do. So feel free to ask the questions that matter to you, and I promise we will make every effort to get to as many of them as possible. Like I said, if you have something, just hold it up, and Judy will come around and collect it. I feel like a lounge singer. Okay, so this is the race for Mayor of Erlanger. We have both council members, Jessica Randy Blankenship, and I will give them their time at the beginning here to do their opening statement, and then we'll get into the questions. So. Randy, you get the first word, and
all right.
Jessica, you get the last word. Oh, you always let my wife have the last word, so it's good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you all for coming here tonight. I really appreciate the good crowd we have here for this event tonight.
Thank you all.
Absolutely. Thank you for hosting this event and getting us here together. I think that's very good. And anytime we as candidates can have the opportunity to come and speak to the public about the issues that are of concern to us and to them, that's a good thing. So I really appreciate you sponsoring this forum so we can come out here and have a talk with you. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. As you know, my name is Randy Blankenship. I moved to Erlanger when I was in the 3rd grade. Well, actually, I should say my parents moved to Erlanger when I was in the 3rd grade. I just followed along. I went to school here in Erlanger. I'm a graduate of Lloyd High School. Went on from there to Northern Kentucky University, and from there to Chase College of Law. I am married to my wife, Kathy, who's sitting here in the front. Kathy and I have been married for 34 years. And she's not from Erlanger, but she's pretty good anyway. She's actually from Grant County, and I moved her up here to Erlanger when we got married, and we've lived here the whole time we've been married. We have 2 kids, and we've raised our kids here in Erlanger. We have a daughter named Amy, who is also seated here in the front, able to be here with me tonight. Amy is a graduate of Lloyd High School, graduated from the University of Kentucky, and she's presently working on her MBA at Northern Kentucky University. She works for Fidelity Investments, and I will know I'll get your title wrong, but it's important what she does. We have a son named Ben, who is 25 years old. He's also a graduate of Lloyd High School. He went on to the University of Kentucky from there, but he decided after a few years at the university he wanted to go into the Army. And he proudly serves our nation today as a member of the United States Army, as a member of the 82nd Airborne. He's with the 82nd Airborne. He's stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he goes around jumping out of perfectly good planes. So I'm proud of him as well. Well, we have been committed to Erlanger. As I said, I've been here since I was in the 3rd grade. Lived here ever since. And I was raised here in Erlanger, went to school in Erlanger. My family lived in Erlanger. I've raised my family here in Erlanger. I placed my business in Erlanger, and I restored a historic home here in Erlanger. I am committed to this community, and this community is my home. And I'm very proud to be from Erlanger. So, people have asked me, you're busy enough, why are you running for this office? And the answer is real simple. I love the city of Erlanger. That's it. I love the city. I've invested my life in this city. I've tried to make it a better place. I've served the city on council. And I think Erlanger is a great place. And I want to just make it a little bit better for us. My goals, if I get elected, are to continue to attract more businesses to Erlanger. That's one of the committees I've been working on as part of the council. I've been on council now for 13 years. And one of the area committees I've been serving on the last 6 years is the Finance and the Economic Development Committee. And we've been working on a number of things, such as the redevelopment of the Showcase Cinema property, which I'm glad to see that getting redeveloped. That's where actually my first job was at Showcase Cinemas. I would help direct traffic on the weekends and paid the great sum of $2 an hour. But I'd like to see us redevelop that. That's going to help us bring in more businesses. We've got Coca-Cola committed there, Perfetti Benelli committed there, Duro Bag committed there, and there's going to be others coming in. And as we bring in more payroll tax revenue from those places, that will enable us to lower the taxes on everybody else, which is what I would like to see us do. I have been fairly conservative on our tax issues over the years, voting against them any number of times, voting against tax increases any number of times. I think about 8 or 9 times I've voted against taxable increases. I'd like to see us continue to provide for our residents our top-notch services. You know, one thing I think in Erlanger we've always taken great pride in is the quality of services we offer. We have wonderful police, fire, EMS, public works. They do a fantastic job. And I'd like to keep doing that, and I'd like to see us improve on that as well. One way we've done that over the last few years is increasing the compensation for those employees, which has greatly increased our retention of employees. Again, we need to keep that going. I'd like to see us improve our parks, our roads, our sidewalks. Again, we've been working on that off and on for any number of years, and I'd like to see that continue to be improved. And additionally, we have to work on our appearance. Erlanger is a great city, but there's some spots in Erlanger where if you walk around or you drive around, you'll see that just don't look like the ship. And so I'd like to see us continue working on our codes enforcement and increase that. But I'd also like us to take a more proactive approach to it as well, in the sense of finding out why it is that people are letting properties get run down for those who aren't, and approach them and see what we can do to make things better. Are they simply just ignoring the condition of their properties and just don't care? Well, that has to be dealt with one way. But are they, for example, is it a senior citizen who simply cannot afford to maintain their property? We need to know that sort of thing before we go around giving citations. Maybe there's things the city can do. Other cities have programs where they give grants or loans to people, and I think we need to be looking at that as well. But you know, these are goals. But meeting goals, having goals, doesn't meet the goals. You've got to have a plan to get there. And I think 2 major components towards meeting goals are needed. The first would be experience. You can set goals all you want, but if you don't have the experience in trying to meet the goals, trying to set the plan, trying to get there, you're not going to meet the goals. Well, I have 13 years on council. I think they've been productive years. I have 32 years as the owner of a business. I know what it's like to meet a payroll. I know what it's like to manage employees. I've done those things for many years. I've worked as a volunteer in many nonprofit organizations, and in that process I've helped manage budgets of anywhere from as low as $10,000 up to 15 to 20 million. So I think that is certainly something that gives us an opportunity. But experience is part of the equation. The other part would be the ability to build consensus. The mayor alone can't do anything. He needs council to back him up. He needs the city staff to work with him. I am proud that I have the support of the overwhelming majority of council. We have a 12-member council. Eliminating myself and Ms. Fetty from the equation because she's supporting her candidacy, and I'm supporting mine. So out of the 10 others, 9 of them are supporting me, and I'm very proud to have that support. And I think that speaks a lot because it says the fact that they know that I'm able to work with them. They know I'm able to help build the consensus, and they know we can get results done. So that's what I want to do. So working with council. I think we need to keep the city as much as we can in a non-political posture. I don't think anybody ever looks at things and says, well, that's a Democratic pothole and that's a Republican sidewalk. We just need to get them fixed, right? And as mayor, that's what I want to do. And you know, this job as mayor, if I get it, is not some stepping stone for me. It's not some point where I want to launch off into some other position. Erlanger is where I want to be. It's where I want to end up. I'm not looking for some other position. So I would ask you to consider experience and teamwork. I have both of those, and I think those will bring about the progress that we want. So I ask you to join me in helping bring our hometown together and helping us continue our progress and do more good things for this great city. Thank you.
Good evening. Once again, my name is Jessica Betty. I'm a councilwoman for the city of Erlanger, and I'm so blessed to be here tonight. I want to first take the opportunity to thank the Northern Kentucky Tribune and Mark Hansel for putting together this candidate forum and giving us the opportunity to address our neighbors and answer their questions. I also want to give a warm welcome and thank you to all my family and friends that have come here today to support me. Your love and gracious nature never ceases to amaze me, and I'm extremely grateful. It's truly been an honor to serve you as your councilwoman for the city of Erlanger. Everything that is wonderful in my life is centered around Erlanger. When I first moved to Erlanger, as a 12-year-old, I had no idea how my world would change. I was born in New Jersey. I moved to Independence when I was 4 years old. My family moved to Kentucky to open up a pizzeria named Vienna Pizza in Burlington. I watched my whole family, my mom, my dad, my 2 sets of grandparents, all of my aunts and uncles, work as hard as they possibly could to make our business successful. Through those examples, the work ethic, the teamwork, the determination, the entrepreneurial spirit, those have been ingrained in me, and I am forever grateful for those examples. At 12, we sold our pizzeria and moved to Erlanger. Within the first couple of weeks, I knew this is where my heart was. With a raise of hands, how many of you can tell me you fell in love with your soulmate in the city of Erlanger? I did. I met my someday husband, Jim Fetty, while playing Capture the Flag in our cul-de-sac. The lifelong friends that I made on that street are now just his closest family, and some of them are family. I attended Dixie Heights High School, and I graduated from the Northern Kentucky University with a bachelor's degree in economics and business administration. After graduation, Jim and I got married at St. Henry, where we have always been parishioners, and we bought our first house on Timberlake Avenue. We brought all 3 of our children home to that house. It holds a very special place in my heart. We have Grace, who is 9. We have James, who is 7. And we have Max, who is 3. In 2015, with the addition of Max, we needed some additional room, so we sold our house on Timberlake, and we built a home out in Lakemont. My parents still live in the subdivision I grew up in, Woodland Hills. And my mother-in-law sold her house in Woodland Hills, and she lives right next door to us. As for my career, once I graduated with my econ degree, I worked at Fidelity Investments within their retirement services department, and later promoted to their quality control and risk management department. This is where I learned the term from the Japanese culture, Kaizen. This is a concept that I live my life by. It's a concept that I built my business around. I own a small business named Jace Solutions. My company helps other small companies improve efficiencies and make sure that they're being efficient with their resources. Kaizen is very important to me. It's the idea of continuous improvement. It's the idea that if you aren't constantly trying to improve yourself, your company, your processes, or your city, then you are moving backwards. Everyone around you is constantly getting better. And it is my responsibility as Erlanger mayor, if I am given that opportunity, to continually drive Erlanger forward. Do not settle for mediocrity. Strive for excellence. It's time for a new generation to lead this city. I do not think that I know all the answers. Absolutely not. But I have absolute confidence in our department heads and our leadership and our administration. The knowledgeable staff and understanding how to tap into their unique skill sets, talents, and expertise to facilitate impactful change. I'm running for Erlanger mayor to reignite a culture of compassion, cooperation, and respect within our city. I will accomplish this by empowering our citizens, our small business owners, our large business owners, and our city employees to share their ideas and extend their hand to their neighbor. What we need as a city are real ideas and real solutions to keep us moving forward in the right direction and to continue to improve the quality of life for every single person that is touched by our community.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start with the questions now. We will, Ms. Betty will have the first response, and we'll go back and forth like we did with the other candidates. So the first question that we have is, if elected, what is your top priority for the city of Erlanger? Oh, we're going to ask you to stand.
Sure. So my top priority for the city of Erlanger is continuing to reduce taxes. We have reduced taxes for the last 4 years, and we can continue to do so. So as an economics degree, a major, and working in at Fidelity Investments in the Retirement Services Department, I understand budgeting. I understand how to look at a budget and make sure that we are properly allocating our funds. So what I've noticed over the last 7 years, we've had between a $1 million and a $2.5 million surplus between our appropriations and our revenues. So we've been putting additional money every year for the last 7 years into a unreserved fund. I'll explain that just a little bit. So when you have a budget, you have a reserve dollar amount. 30% of your appropriations is what we have as for an emergency. Then you have what's called an unreserved dollar amount. This is above and beyond that 30% that is a recommended dollar amount. In that unreserved pile of money, we have over $10 million. Now, when I look around and I tell people that this $10 million account exists, they look at our sidewalks and our streets and they think, well, wait a minute, why do we have sidewalks that are they're gravel? If we have $10 million sitting in the bank, are we not allocating our funds properly? We need to put more money into our sidewalks, our roads, and rebuild our infrastructure. Right now, we are in triage mode, and we need to get it back up to maintenance mode. And we can continue to do that by reducing taxes, because we have such a surplus. We can do both. We can increase our funding for our infrastructure and continue to reduce taxes. And that will not be a problem at all.
Yeah, that's fine. Top priority to me would be improvement of our city, and part of that would be continuing to lower the taxes. But we have to do more than just lower taxes. If you lower taxes by 1%, you're saving a taxpayer of $100,000 home a few dollars a month. It's nice, but there are more important things we can do as well. We continue to reduce the taxes, of course. I've done that on our finance committee. I've been on finance committee chair of it for 6 years, and we've lowered taxes 4 times, kept it the same twice. So taxes are important, and I certainly believe that. But one thing we can do is to help improve the look of our city. And we can work on our city, for example, improving our codes enforcement, taking care of blighted properties, dealing with properties that are run down. When we do that, the values of our properties will go up, and that will increase our tax revenue even if we do lower the rate. And so I think that's what we need to be working on. That needs to be our focus, is making our city look better, improving our property values, which will enable us to have more money at a lesser tax rate.
Okay, and kind of longer range, what is your long-term vision for Erlanger? I mean, where would you like to see Erlanger be in 5 years, 10 years, and how do you plan to get it? It's your turn. I can keep track when there's only 2.
Long-range vision for the city of Erlanger is I would like to continue building our sense of community. One thing I've always loved about Erlanger is it is a hometown, and it has a hometown feel. I'd like to see us continue doing that. And we can do that by improving our roads, improving our sidewalks, expanding our parks. One of the things I've wanted to do is increase the green spaces in the city. We have a lot of concrete around, we have a lot of blacktop around. That's all well and good, and it has its place. But I would like to see us improve our feel of community by increasing our green spaces, maybe some small parks. For example, one of the projects I've been thinking about is on the corner of McAlpin and Dixie Highway, where they did the realignment of Garvey and McAlpin. I would like to see us have a small park there, maybe a Veterans Memorial Park. My vision for that would be to put U.S. flag there, the flags of each of our services, light them up, put a few benches, maybe a little walkway or something, just so people can have that there and kind of remember those soldiers who dedicated so much for their country. Obviously, with a son in the military myself, the service members mean a lot to me, and so I'd like to see something of that nature. We have a small area like that along Stevenson Road as you're heading down the hill towards Turkey Foot. Again, a nice small park there would be very nice. These are things I think that we can do with very little expense, but it would help create a nicer community. I think we can have more community events, things of that nature. And I think with the businesses that we've been attracting to the city and that we continue to attract, we're going to be able to afford that. And as Ms. Betty mentioned, we do have a nice surplus that we built up because of years and years and years of financial planning. And that has built up a nice surplus, so we certainly have the funds to do these things and to do more. You know, we certainly need to improve our infrastructure. I don't agree necessarily with triage mode. We have a nice sidewalk priority program that's been in place for a number of years. We have a road replacement program that's been in place for a number of years. And I can see roads that are being replaced every day. In fact, I can barely get in and out of my office because of the road being replaced. But those are what I think. I think we just need to make this city a better place by making it a better looking place, by bringing more businesses in, and I think we'll end up with a better city in the long run.
So my long-term vision for Erlanger is focusing on economic development. So as an economics major, that is my passion. Making sure that we are supporting our businesses is extremely important. That is the way that we have the ability to decrease the tax burden on our citizens. So when we look at our budget, we look at the revenues that are coming in. The majority of our tax revenues are coming in from our businesses. So the more that we can pump them up and take care of our current businesses and attract more, the higher percentage of our budget is going to be coming in from our businesses, and we can continue to reduce our taxes on our citizens. So something that we're doing right now to support our current businesses is we have an Erlanger Business Council. This was started a couple months ago. It's taken off. Basically what it is a business advocacy group. We have networking pieces of it, but it's basically a way to get all of our businesses together and understanding how the city can help them be more successful. What are there tax incentives that could be beneficial to small businesses? Are there different beautification programs that could be funneled through the Erlanger Business Council? There's so many opportunities when you're looking at our businesses. They're so willing to be a part of our community and enhance our community for the better. So being able to get them all in the same room at one time is huge. It's amazing. and it attracts other businesses to us. So when we sit in the Erlanger Business Council, it's not just Erlanger businesses. It's other businesses from all over our northern Kentucky region, even some from Ohio, some from Indiana, and we're showing them that our city government is supportive of them. We want to hear from them. They have a voice, and that's important because ultimately, if they are successful, we are successful as a whole. Okay, so the citizens are going to benefit because we're going to be able to decrease their tax burden and then put that money into more sidewalks, more roads.
Okay, we're getting a great response from you guys, I want you to know, I really appreciate that. One question has come up from several people, in sort of different ways, but it's the same basic question is, what is your experience managing people, employees, and what is your experience in managing a large budget? I think a $10 million budget was the number given here. So just elaborate on your experience there and how you would bring that to this office.
So managing a budget, it's what I went to school for. So when you're sitting down with your retirement specialist and you're trying to understand how you're going to get to retirement, what are the goals? You have to set goals, and then you have to understand how you're going to achieve those goals. Okay, so this a city budget, even though it is a higher dollar amount, is no different than our budget and our retirement, getting us prepared for retirement. So making sure that we're understanding where our revenues are coming in and how we can increase those revenues, and our appropriations and how we can decrease the dollar amounts that we're spending and be more efficient with our resources. And no, I have not run a $10 million budget. I haven't. But over the last 2 years on council, I have poured myself into understanding every little detail of our current budget and making sure that we are being efficient with our resources.
Well, let me address both of those issues. First, on managing employees. I own my own business. We have about 15 employees, and I manage them every single day and have been doing that in my own business, this firm, for 11 years. Before that, I was with a law firm in Cincinnati. I started there as a law clerk, worked my way up to being a partner in the firm. I was a partner in that firm for over 20 years. During that period of time, we grew that firm from 6 employees to over 70. I was in charge of managing those employees on the management committee, and so I have managed employees. I have met a payroll. I know what it's like to hire people. I know what it's like to terminate people, and it's not fun. But I have done this. I'm not speaking of academic experience or classwork. I'm talking about actual, on-the-job work. And when it comes to managing a budget, well, first off, I am a member of the Finance Committee in the City of Erlanger, have been for 6 years. In that time, as I said, we've lowered the taxes 4 times, kept taxes same twice. That has been helpful. I'm not saying I did it by myself, of course, but that's been managing a $10 million plus budget for all that time. But even before that, when I was a member of council, before I was on the Finance Committee, I was very involved with the budget as well. It is a difficult budget to master over time, and it takes time. I remember the first year I was on council, presented with the first budget. I think I prepared a list of 175 questions to figure out what exactly was going on there. And I sat down and I got answers to every single one of them. But that was part of the learning curve. But I have managed budgets in excess of $10 million. I'm a member of a nonprofit organization called Baptist Life Communities. Among things that organization has done is built this Baptist village out here in Erlanger. I was chairman of the board when we did that. I managed that project for them, with them, and that was a multi-million-dollar project, obviously. I've been chair of the finance committee for the Baptist Black Communities for 2 terms, two sections, I should say, one time for 5 years, one time for 3 years. And I believe the budget we were charged to manage at that time was in excess of $100 million. So it's not just an academic exercise, it's real life, and I've done it.
Again, you guys are just bringing it home for us, we appreciate that. You know your community, you're obviously passionate, as are these candidates, so it means